Man, Broncos Country. Today, we have two stories, and I am telling you right now, they both have me thinking about the exact same thing. How quickly everything we are excited about this season can change. Because the first story is about something happening inside Broncos practice that might look like nothing more than guys competing hard. Training camp gets physical. Tempers rise. Everybody wants to win their rep. We understand that. But there is a point where intensity stops being a good thing, especially when you remember what happened to this team last season and just how painful it was watching everything change at the worst possible moment. And when something happens once, maybe you move on. When it starts happening again, now I am paying attention. Because there are certain risks this team simply cannot afford to take right now, and I really want to talk about whether Denver needs to shut this down before somebody learns that lesson the hard way. But then we have the second story. And somehow, things got even crazier. What happened at Broncos training camp turned into a full-blown confrontation. Guys were on the ground, emotions completely boiled over. Somebody ended up bleeding. And one decision in the middle of all that chaos could have made this situation so much worse. So, yeah, we have two Broncos stories today, and there is a lot to unpack because I love seeing this team play with fire. But there is a difference between having an edge and putting your season at risk. Before we get into the first one, if you are enjoying these Broncos conversations, hit the like button and subscribe. I am Leo, and this channel is still new, so our first goal is getting this community to 1,000 subscribers. But seriously, only subscribe if you are a real Broncos fan and you actually want to be here talking football with us. It will be pretty cool one day to say you were part of this thing from the very beginning. Alright, now, we need to talk about what has been happening at practice, because this is where I think the Broncos need to be really careful. And the first story starts with Bo Nix. Because according to Chad Jensen of Sports Illustrated's Broncos coverage, there is a growing concern that Denver's defense is getting way too close. To the one player who is supposed to be protected above everybody else during practice, your franchise quarterback is supposed to be off limits. That is just how this works. And yet, since Broncos training camp started in late July, Nix has reportedly been knocked to the ground twice by his own defensive teammates. Twice. And normally, that would already bother me. But considering everything Bo Nix has just gone through with that ankle, it bothers me even more. Remember, Nix is coming back from the fractured ankle he suffered late in Denver's AFC divisional round overtime victory over the Buffalo Bills last season. He actually continued playing after suffering the injury and helped put Denver in position for the game-winning field goal. The injury eventually required multiple procedures, including 2 surgeries, and it basically wiped out his offseason. Then, 1 week after that injury, Denver had to play the New England Patriots in the AFC Championship game without him. Jarrett Stidham stepped in for his first start in 2 years. The offense struggled badly in that snowstorm. And the Broncos lost 10-7 with a trip to the Super Bowl sitting right there. That should be all the evidence anybody inside that building needs. We already know what happens when Bo Nix disappears from the equation. This team has massive expectations in 2026. But those expectations are directly connected to number 10 being healthy and leading this offense. That is why what happened on day 13 of training camp on Tuesday has become such a big conversation. On the play in question, edge rushers Nick Bonitto and Jonathan Cooper collapsed the pocket from the outside, while defensive tackle Malcolm Roach penetrated from the interior, and Bo Nix ended up on the ground. Again, Nix was clearly not happy about it. He got back up and threw the football at Roach, who was laughing and celebrating with the defense. And I am sorry, Broncos Country, but this is where I have a problem. I want Nick Bonitto attacking I want Jonathan Cooper attacking I want Malcolm Roach bringing that nasty defensive line mentality. That is part of what can make this defense special. But there has to be an understanding that you do not finish that play through your quarterback, especially this quarterback. Especially after what happened last January. And especially when Malcolm Roach has reportedly been involved in both instances this summer, where Nix has ended up on the ground. At some point, it stops feeling like an accident and starts feeling like something the coaching staff needs to get under control. Chad Jensen argued that defensive coordinator Vance Joseph needs to have a serious conversation with his front 7, particularly Roach. He also questioned whether defensive line coach Jamar Cain is getting that message across strongly enough, while acknowledging that Cain has done a very good job coaching his group. And ultimately, this comes back to Sean Payton. He is the head coach. He sets the standard for how this team practices. One incident, fine. Football happens. Bodies collide. Guys are moving at ridiculous speeds. But twice, now you have to address it. And Vance Joseph actually talked about exactly that after practice. Joseph explained that Peyton has emphasized how the team should practice from day one and that the defensive players know they are supposed to avoid the quarterback. He acknowledged that competition takes over sometimes. Guys are trying to win their rush and they can get too close. But Joseph also made the most important point. Bo is their quarterback, and they do not want anybody near Bo. Exactly that cannot just be something you remind players about after the quarterback gets knocked down. It has to become the standard, because I do not care how good this roster is. I do not care how dangerous the defense looks. I do not care how many weapons Denver has. If Bo Nix gets seriously hurt during a training camp practice because one of his own teammates could not pull up, nobody is going to care who won that rep. And the interesting part is that Nix himself did not make a huge deal out of it. Actually, his reaction was almost the complete opposite. After practice, Bo said he loved the intensity because it was football and it was helping prepare him for real games. He talked about physical players having a physical practice, the intensity rising during those long summer sessions, and guys enjoying the competition. And that response is so Bo Nix. He wants to compete. He does not want everybody treating him like he is made of glass. I actually love that mentality from my quarterback. But Bo does not need to be the guy telling everybody to protect Bo. That is Sean Payton's responsibility. That is Vance Joseph's responsibility. That is the coaching staff's responsibility. The player is always going to want to compete. Sometimes the coaches have to protect the player from his own competitive nature. And that brings us directly into the second story. Because what happened shortly afterward shows exactly how quickly that intensity can turn into something completely different. This was not just another heated rep. According to Tony Adami of Heavy, Denver's first real training camp fight turned into a massive pile involving multiple players, and Bo Nix himself got involved. DNVR's Zach Stevens described it as the first real fight of Broncos camp. And apparently, it got ugly fast. Nix, who was already angry after being sacked and taken to the ground earlier, went into the chaos and grabbed Nick Bonito by the leg, pulling him off the pile. Then Bonito became extremely angry and had to be held back by multiple teammates. And offensive lineman Calvin Throckmorton ended up bleeding from the face after being at the bottom of the pile and had to be checked by trainers. Now that is exactly the situation I do not want Bo anywhere near. I understand why he did it. Your teammates are fighting. Adrenaline is pumping. You are the quarterback. You are a leader. And you are not going to stand 20 yards away pretending nothing is happening? Emotionally, I get it. But from the perspective of protecting the season, Bo needs to get out of there. You just spent an offseason recovering from the first major injury of your NFL career. You do not need to be underneath a pile of offensive and defensive linemen or grabbing the leg of an all-pro edge rusher during a training camp fight. There is absolutely nothing to win there, and there is so much to lose. Offensive coordinator Davis Webb summed it up pretty well after practice. Webb said he likes the fire and loves the competition, but Denver cannot cross the line. And importantly, he did not blame one individual or one position group. He made it clear that responsibility belongs to both the offense and the defense. That is the balance Denver needs to find. Because I do not want Sean Payton turning this into some soft training camp where everybody is afraid to compete. Absolutely not. This team has Super Bowl expectations. They should be intense. Nick Bonito should want to destroy every rep. Jonathan Cooper should want to beat his blocker. Malcolm Roach should want to collapse that pocket. The offensive line should take that personally. Bo Nix should get angry. That competitive edge is healthy. But once your franchise quarterback is hitting the ground, footballs are getting thrown at teammates. Fights are breaking out. Players are bleeding. And your starting quarterback is physically pulling an all-pro defender out of a pile. Guys, we crossed the line. And there is another layer to all of this that makes protecting Nix even more important. His future. Bo Nix is entering his third season as Denver's starting quarterback. And right now, his contract is one of the biggest advantages the Broncos have. Bleacher Report's Brad Gagnon actually ranked Nix at the top of his list of the NFL's most underpaid players, again. And when you look at the numbers, you understand why. Nix carries a cap hit of approximately $5.1 million in 2026, which Gagnon noted ranked only 35th among quarterbacks. Think about that. Denver potentially has its long-term franchise quarterback, a former first-round pick entering year 3, at a cap number below quarterbacks like Davis Mills, Marcus Mariota, and Gardner Minshew. And Bo Nix is not even the highest-paid quarterback on Denver's own roster this season. Jarrett Stidham is due $8 million. That rookie contract window is unbelievably valuable because it gives Denver flexibility to build around Nix. But that situation could change very soon. After this season, Bo Nix becomes eligible for a contract extension. And if he continues developing into the franchise quarterback Denver believes he can be, we could eventually be talking about a contract somewhere around $50 million to $60 million per year. That is life-changing money. That is franchise-altering money. And it is another reason why everybody needs to understand what is at stake every time this guy unnecessarily hits the ground. The Broncos are not protecting some random player competing for a roster spot. They are protecting the quarterback who could define the next decade of Denver Broncos football. And before the regular season even begins, Nix is expected to see some game action. Denver's second of 3 preseason games comes Friday against the Green Bay Packers, and Nix is expected to play at least one series. So he is going to get legitimate contact soon enough. Let Green Bay worry about hitting him. His own defense does not need to help. And when I put these two stories together, that is really where I land on all of this. I love the fire. Seriously. After watching this team get so close last season, I want players walking into 2026 angry. I want them remembering that AFC Championship game. I want them remembering that 10-7 loss to New England. I want them remembering how close they were to the Super Bowl and how quickly everything changed when Bo Nix fractured that ankle against Buffalo. Use that pain, use that frustration. Let it drive you, but do not let it make you stupid. Because the entire point of training camp is preparing yourself to win when the games actually count. You cannot jeopardize the real season trying to prove who is tougher in August. Sean Payton, Vance Joseph, Davis Webb, Jamar Cain, and the rest of this staff have to find that line and make sure everybody understands it. And Bo has a responsibility here too. I love that he wants to be one of the guys. I love that his reaction to getting knocked down was basically that this is football. That toughness is part of why people believe in him. But after what happened last season, there is no shame in being smart. Sometimes leadership means jumping into the fight. Sometimes leadership means understanding that your team needs you too much for you to jump into the fight. And Bo Nix is too important to this team to be taking unnecessary chances. That is what these two stories tell me about where the Broncos are right now. This team is hungry. This team is physical. This team is emotional. And after getting within one victory of the Super Bowl last season, nobody inside that building seems satisfied. I love that. But now, Sean Payton has to make sure all that emotion is pointed in the right direction. Because Broncos Country knows better than anybody how fragile a championship opportunity can be. One play changed everything last January. One ankle injury completely changed the AFC Championship game, and Denver cannot allow something avoidable in training camp to put another season in danger before it even gets started. So now I want to hear from you. Do you think the Broncos coaching staff needs to come down harder after Bo Nix was taken to the ground twice? Or do you agree with Bo that this is football, and that kind of intensity is exactly what Denver needs? And what about the fight? Did you like seeing Bo stand up for his teammates and get involved? Or were you screaming at your screen for the franchise quarterback to stay away from that pile? Drop your opinion in the comments because I really want to see where Broncos Country stands on this one. And if you enjoyed talking Broncos football with me, hit the like button. This channel is still new and we are chasing our first 1,000 subscribers. So if you genuinely believe in where this Broncos team is going and you want to be part of these conversations throughout the season, subscribe and come build this community with us from the beginning. There is something special about being there before a community gets big. Now we just need the Broncos to save all this fighting for the opponents. Take care of Bo, get through camp healthy, and when the real games arrive, then unleash everything. Because after how last season ended, nobody in Broncos Country wants another story about what could have been.